think I can start. Let me make some room. Hey guys. Good evening. Hope you're doing all right. I am. Let me move a screen here so I can keep tabs on any chat messages that I might be missing. I was able to clear coat this guy earlier today. Finally the weather kind of let up. It's been too humid, but it got dry enough for me to go ahead and do this. So here we are. And this guy is a good guy, so I'm gonna try and hold on a second. Give him some nice green. Field of grass to run like the wind, the chemo. And those old guys will know what I'm talking about. Just realized my glue sits for so long it's separated here. Better shake this. I've never had to shake Elmer's glue before, but looks like I'm gonna have to start. And I think I want to use these guys as well. And I know I want to use quite a bit of flowers, I think, for my buddy here. So this will get a little interesting. Okay. All right. I like using the brush so that I can control where my glue goes. Which in turn will control where the grass will grow. It's not a perfect science, as you can see. I've already gone past the area that I would like to, but I think it's pretty darn good. Sorry for all the noise in the background, but as many of you know, you try to fit in your hobby time whenever possible, and sometimes it's while you're doing other things. So I've got a load of laundry drying in the background. I got guests watching TV in the other room, and it is what it is, but I'll be able to get this guy done. and that'll be awesome for me. So if you're okay with that, you can hang out and watch. Or if you're not interested in hearing all about this, you could always just mute the channel and have this playing, the video playing in the background. I don't know if anybody does that. I do sometimes. Depends what I'm doing. There you go. I really want the grass to get in there between the horses' hooves. It's important to me that that happens. I'm not too concerned with these build-up supports that the sculptor did to keep the horse from falling over. It's a really good sculpt for the horse. It's a strong sculpt. And I think at this point I can go ahead and do what I think I need to do. So I'm going to get this big guy here. And just drop him in right there. Boom. That is totally what I want to do. I love it. Then I'm going to get a little guy over here. This guy was falling off anyways. I'm going to put him over here. Boom. Like so. There's a lot of color on this one. For me. Oh. And I think that might be all the flowers I'm putting on him. I might even it out. Put one in right there. Just because I'm feeling like that. That's it for this guy. And now, get some grass in there. Now, normally people like to use, this is static grass, and if you have any static, those little equipment that stands up these guys, the grass on your model, that's awesome. I haven't had too bad a time doing it. I don't have that static machine, and I have not tried using a balloon or anything. I don't have anything that I can think of that'll fit in these tight spaces that I'm always applying grass to, so I haven't been too worried about getting this grass to stand up straight, other than beating the backside of these minis. When I'm applying the grass. So, but I already like what this is looking like. So that makes me happy. I'm gonna do this and get it right back in the bin that it came out of. I'm pretty happy with this coverage. And then I can use a dry brush, not the technique, but this little brush that you may have seen me use in other videos, that I used to kind of brush the grass in a specific direction that I might want it to go, or to get it off the edge of the base. So here's a little bit of space that I would like to get covered. And ideally there's some enough glue there to accept that. Yeah. I want to send a shout out to Cash 18. I really appreciate you following me. Oh, looks like my camera froze, I think. Let me see what I can do about that. That's weird. Let's see. Can I do this? Is that going to help? No, it does not help. Huh, I wonder why that happened. That's weird. Looks like my camera froze. But I don't think... I was just going really slow. There you go. Looks like the upload is way behind me, but it's working. So I'm gonna keep on keeping on here. And get some of the grass that I've got here applied on some of these high points. See, there's a spot where I'd want to see his hoof, so I can flatten that out, which kind of looks cool because it kind of looks like he stepped into the grass, which is something you'd want to see, right? It's not just a model covered in grass, so that's nice. I didn't brush this side. I can brush this up and off the side of the base. That's all the better for me. Yep. I can see a spot here where I need some glue. That's hard to do once you've got the grass on there already. So I might have to live with that, or come back later and make an adjustment after this first go of it is dry. But basically after this I just have to wait till, I'll let it sit till tomorrow now. But that is basically my mounted archer. Let's get some of this excess grass out of here and save it for later. Yeah, I got just enough flowers on there that I like. Yeah, which for me denotes, you know, good guy. I'm gonna close this up. Put away my flowers. A little brush. Just like that. I'm gonna cough. Give me a second. Let me try and mute this before I cough in your ear. There we go. Excuse me. This is, let's see if I can get a good picture for you to look at here, where he might be in focus. He's not going to focus, is he? Let's see if I can. Hold on a second. Alright. Let's see if this other camera helps. No? It's not having it. But here's my Citadel mounted archer on top of my Ral Partha horse that I've had for, I don't know, 30, almost 40 years maybe. And I stripped him and repainted him. He used to have a brown horse. Horse is now a gray horse. And he's you know, just left his village riding out for war. Probably been conscripted by the king. You know, I wish I could get a good focus on him for you. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm confused. Oh, there you go. So here he is. You get all the spots on the horse that I sprayed on with the brush. I'm very happy with that. The shading on the horse, I might have done a better job, but I didn't want to have the guy to be too clean, because I think that, you know, he's off to war. He's not everybody takes a lot of baths back then, and I just, in my head, he's kind of a peasant archer. Probably does a really good job. You know, salt of the earth type of guy. Going off to defend this country. And maybe it'd be cool if I had a standalone version of this mini, because I'd play this guy in D&D for sure. But yeah, so that's my archer. His blue eyes, I don't know if you can see those there. I'll take some still photos and upload those later. This was fun. Can't wait. And tomorrow, after this is dry, I'll pluck him out of here, and he can either go on display or in storage. I'm not playing many games these days, so this is really just for me, painting for me. Not really painting for any games. So it's just because I like to paint this stuff, that's all. I'm gonna clean up my workspace a little bit. Don't want to leak that. I should probably invest in one of those tiny vacuum cleaners. Keep the stuff off the floor of my office. This. Yep. There it goes. Perfect. Just dump it right there. And we're gonna start with the next guy. I should clean this. The other two guys that I have right in line to paint next is my Ral Partha Paladin in full chainmail, and this, I think this is a Gamer's Workshop Goblin Chef or Cook. I like them both. Let me switch back to the wide angle camera. unless you guys prefer this angle, and you'd have to tell me this view. But these are my next two guys to go. I'm gonna paint this guy, which is the one I've been trying to paint for a while. And this is going to be interesting because I originally was going to paint him as a Templar. But now that I've seen a bunch of other people painting the same guy as a Templar, I've had second thoughts. And so I think I'm gonna try something different, but at least the start will be the same for whatever I try to do with them, and that's gonna be to paint the chainmail. So I'm not going for realistic because, again, I like these guys for D&D and my fantasy games. This is one of my favorite all-time minis. I'm very happy I was able to replace the old sword, well, the missing sword, with this one. And so I want extra shiny chainmail, so I'm going to use this stuff. So we'll go with that. I'll shake it up really good. And while I shake it up really good, I'm going to find what particular brush I want to use. I think I want to use my larger brush. Larger for me, not for you. This brush is dead. I should just get rid of it. I cut it to see if I can save it, and it just didn't work out. This is his twin, and he's still good, so I'll be using him. I think the best way to go. So here's my dirty water. I've been very bad at not replacing my water. I think I could shake this up some more, I think. I'm not sure if I should paint his eyes flesh tone. I kind of want to, kind of like a Mad Max type deal, because that's what it reminds you of, the hockey mask. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to dab a little black in there for that. This is garbage too. See there. And for those little black eyeballs, I will go with a smaller brush. I scraped this guy clean just before we started. Oh my gosh, is there paint on this? Did I see that correctly? Or am I mistaken? Oh, look at that. This was not cleaned properly. And it will cause me problems if I don't clean it properly now. Pretty sure I could save it. Huh. I must have been in a hurry, and you probably watched me do it because I've been recording all of my hobby sessions and uploading them faithfully. So, speaking of which, if you want to see other of my videos, I do post the older videos on YouTube under the same name, Flickle Paints. I'm Flickle and I paint. I do other things too, but the channel is mainly about painting minis. Yeah, all the other older videos, there's about 20 videos there on YouTube. You can look me up as Fleco Paints, and you can see all the older videos that get timed out on Twitch, and see anything else that I've done. And I have some video playlists for the specific minis that I might be working on start to finish. They might have anywhere between 3 to 5 sessions, depending on what mini it was I was working on and how long it took me to do it. So I don't know if the brush is still good. I'm just annoyed that I left paint on it, and I'm sure that it'll wear out as I continue to use this guy. But if I keep treating it like this and leave paint on it when I'm done, he ain't gonna last that long. And I actually like this particular brush a lot, and I'm thinking I might get away with just using this blue one for both the metal and the black on my guy here. So most people prime black underneath their metal paint. I'm not too worried about it in this case, especially since I said I want to get a brightness to this guy. So let's get that black. In here, I could tell it is very wet. Alright. I just wanted it for that, right? Those two little dots. And now I'm going to do his chainmail. This is almost a silver. Like I said, I want him to be, you know, well, you saw Excalibur, right? Those things were polished aluminum, which looked like chrome. And if this guy was plate, I'd probably do the same thing. So the only thing that he has as plate is his full helmet. Hey, I almost knocked that over. I need to widen my workspace. There we go. I can already tell that the lighter primer is coming through the metallic paint, making for a lighter metallic finish, which is precisely what I wanted to go for. So I'm okay with that. I know that if I would have put lead belcher on this guy, it still would look fine, but it would be too dark for what I want to do. So we're going to do this and this, and continue to apply these thinner coats. Here we go. Here we go. Have to be careful not to make it too thick, or I'll lose the details in his face mask here. He's got a cross, some air holes in the shape of a cross. That I want to keep for him, and that's what's here. These on the other side came out fine. I think I almost lost these. We're going to remove some paint on the surface like that. There you go. I think that'll be very important. And I've got here the top of his head. Again, this is his helmet. It's funny because as a D&D character, I don't think you would typically see a Christian knight. I'm sure they're out there, but that's what this guy is, basically, based on the way he is. And when I painted him back in the 80s, I made him a Templar. He's white and red. But it just so happens that at the same time I decided to strip him and fix and repair and repaint him, one of the other guys in the groups that I'm in online was making the same mini and had the exact same paint job, which I'm sure there's 50 billion of these guys out there with the exact same paint job, because that's what he lends himself to be, is a white and red Templar. But I saw that and said to myself, you cannot just follow the herd. So I am, even now as I paint him, still debating on whether or not if I should go white and red or some other colors for this knight, which I've done with an undead knight, and I've done with, I'm trying to think if I did a live knight like this guy, but I'm not sure I have. So this will be the first live paladin slash knight that I might go multicolor on. In a second I am going to mute my mic so that I can cough without murderizing your ears. Oh goodness, excuse me. So if I don't cough too much, I'll paint for a while. If it gets out of hand, I'll call it a night. I did start kind of late today. Sorry about that. For now, I'm going to go ahead and paint this metallic. And that's the buzzard I was worried about. Sorry. Right here. But that's it. That'll end all that background noise except for the TV in the other room. Let me tell you, I'm sure you saw me jump there. That scared the poop out of me. But here we go. Gotta get his fist holding the shield. And it might be too thick. I might want to thin that out or try to remove some paint from here so you can see his chainmail hand. I think it's working. All right. And I come over here. It's just such a nice sculpt, this little guy. It's so classic. I mean, especially as a 8 or 9-year-old boy. I got this guy I probably was a little older when I got this guy. I have to look up what year he was from again, because I don't remember. Oh, actually it says it in the back. 70 RPI 84. So no, I wasn't even 8 or 9, I was 13. So, you know, classic night. And because in the old D&D too, you had plate mail, you were like freaking slow as heck. So chainmail was like a nice trade-off. So this would have been my go-to guy, right, in my chainmail armor to do whatever it is I had to do. I can see I've tried to glue that sword in there twice, and the glue that I've used is not taken, but that sword ain't going anywhere, so it's gonna stay loose. There we go. I don't think it'll stay loose, but it's gonna get the same color treatment as this chainmail, so this will be a little interesting. There's his thumb, his glove, the hilt. I will go back and rework later, but I'll lay this base of metal paint on it. Put some liquid on there. The thing about the metal paint is not the same as a colored paint. The pigment is these flecks of metal which give it its color, and they don't necessarily mix as well as the pigment does in the paint. They seem to settle a little faster than regular paints do. I also noticed that different paint colors have slightly different properties when it comes to drying time, thickness or consistency, or pigment in the medium. The medium being the liquid that's carrying the pigment that you're applying to your miniature or the surface. So all that I find interesting. So I'm going to get this silver in there, get the silver on my hilt here. Not silver, it's iron breaker. I do like the Citadel paints, even though they're a little expensive. And that's what I ended up on lately. But I will be migrating as I go and start mixing up my own colors soon, as I get more and more into the hobby paints, which is like the decor and stuff. But I haven't really investigated what's available from decor. I got all the primary colors, so I can do whatever I want as far as mixing a paint. But sometimes I better mix this up. See, this is already separating. Mix this up again. Shake up this bottle. Yeah, that did the trick. Plus me adding all this water here, that doesn't help. It just thins it out some more, but I don't mind. I think it's working. Oh yes, I was painting a sword. Now these are not power swords that I see people painting in World of War. What is it? Not World of War. Warhammer 40K or even Age of Sigmar. I have painted like a soul blade before, so it's like a black blade with a star field in it, but it was tiny like this, You'll see that on my splash page on Twitch and on YouTube. I think he's one of the skeletons on there. He's got a soul blade, so those skeletons there aren't wusses. That's a Ral Partha set that I got way back when. I finished that last year. I can't believe it's already been a year since I painted that thing. But yeah. Here we go. Go ahead and do his chainmail skirt. I've got a lot of liquid in here. I am counting on it settling into the recesses as it dries, but I'm thinking I'll go back and pull it out with the brush as the brush dries. Just like that, or even worse, or just there we go. I'd have to go in with another brush. It's weird too, because it's not like I remember when I was painting this guy way back when. I don't remember the day or the time or what, but it's like I'm rediscovering this little guy as I paint him. It's deja vu all over again. So, and right now it's the easy part. It's just globbing on the metal paint, making sure I get it in all the spots I need to, making sure I don't fill in all the little chainmail details that he's got, because that would be disappointing. And also I'm going to try my hand at putting a nice design on his shield. I think it'll make a big deal of a difference and set him apart from all the other full chainmail paladins out there. Speaking of which, this guy is Ral Partha, full chainmail paladin. You can check him out on Iron Wind Metals, and they're the ones who hooked me up with this sword that you see here. I was able to buy from them this sword and the spare wings for my Archangel that I did in a previous video, because I lost those in the ravages of time, and that allowed me to save that mini. Alright, I was able to get him his wings on the Archangel and a sword from my buddy here, so that's pretty awesome. I think we're coming along swimmingly here. A little too thick here. I think here I found the limits of the sculptor's abilities at this left foot, but he was able to work around it. I'm going to cough real quick. Oh, and I see we have somebody watching. Hello, whoever you are. I'm going to try to look at the chat more, so if you want to type some kind of salutation, that'd be cool. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't been here too long, you missed the dryer going off in the background and scaring the poop out of me. Luckily I wasn't painting anything too detailed at that time, which I should have thought of when I started that dryer. But gotta get your chores done, you know? Gotta get your chores done so you can have fun. Work first, play later. Get that in there. Got this, like I said, I went with a light metallic color because I want him, you know, super good guy. I think I got all of his chainmail. I'm gonna cough again. Ooh, sorry, I thought I hit the mute button. Actually, what I did looks like is I missed it by that much. So I'm very sorry for your ears. But I'm still getting over that thing I caught the other day. And it feels like it's moved from my nose to the back of my throat. And this time I'm talking a lot more than I usually do when I'm streaming. So I've got all this metal work done. Metal base. I got his eye sockets painted. A nice matte black. I keep thinking I might want to do something else in there, but I'm not sure. And I think I'm going to paint his. Yeah, I need to figure out what colors I'm going to run with now. So I mean, this is going to be crazy, but I think I'm going to go with a yellow and a green. I'm using a reference that I pulled offline. I'm not following it exactly, but I think I might go this route. So I'm going to shake these up. And I think the yellow, I think I'm going to have to start with the green first because it's on the right and it's inside there. How I want to do this. And this reference photo has a blue cape. He has no cape. I may give him a blue plumage on his head. And if I don't like it, I'll just paint over it. But that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I can close this. Oh, that's funny because I wanted to go silvery. Apparently I had Rune Fang steel set aside for this, but I went with Ironbreaker because I'm not following my own directions. So I'll leave this here, put this back over here. Actually, I know what I'm going to use with this. I got this. Alright. And I'm not sure if the yellow I want is that or that, but I know the green I want is this. It's funny, I bought these primary colors and I've been using a lot of the green lately. It'd be interesting to get my minis out and you'll see the palette that I used in specific times as I painted. So many of my minis might have similar palettes just because of when I painted them. I think I only need a drop. Drop should be good. Keep this over here. Clean this up. Make sure we get rid of the metallic flecks in this brush. Yep. Might even want to go with a smaller brush based on where I gotta get in. You know what? I think I am gonna do that. Well, actually, before I do that, I'll do this. I know I'm gonna go yellow. Oh, yellow, green. I mean, I might mess this up completely and have to strip them again, but I want to give it a shot. I want my Paladin to have a shot at being something different and more than what is expected. of this particular paladin. So I will go ahead and fill this in the back here like this. Yeah, I like the way the primer is soaking up this paint in this instance. I like that. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to have a red cross on here, believe it or not. And then I'm going to do something else that I've never tried before, and I'm not even going to talk about it until I freaking get there, because it's just a wacky idea. I've seen something that they did for gas lamps, and I'm going to try it on this shield. So here we go. Yeah. This is really thinned out. Oh, gotta be careful there. I want to get it on the chainmail. That's a difficult angle there. Hold on. Give me a minute to do this. And make sure the front here is nice and even. Which I do want. Perfect. And I don't want to get green on the areas that are going to be yellow, because it'll be difficult to cover. So there's that. Now I get my smaller brush, because I gotta get green deep into the recesses of behind the shield. Let's see. It can't be too thick. So that means that his shoulder here is green. I think I'm going too light there. Yeah, and whoever's watching, like I said, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to add a note. I'm making a point of checking my chat window more often, so that I can talk to you. That's the whole point of this, I guess. Well, I guess I know. It's for me to paint my minis and talk to you while I do it. And so, if you've got any questions, by all means, feel free to ask. I think I found a boo-boo. Not a boo-boo, but yeah. So there is a mold line way inside this guy that I will not be able to get to with any of the tools that I have at the moment. So what I'm going to do is paint right over it and try to hide it later. In the meantime, I think I can do this and that, paint in here. Alright. You might be able to see what I'm going to try to do here now that I'm doing it. And I'm going to be relying on washes to help me hide some of my transitions later on in this paint job. And so if the top side is, top right is green, the bottom left will now be green. And I need to find the middle of that and paint that all the way through. I think I've done that just now. Yeah. I just spotted something that I need to paint that's not green. You want to try and paint from the inside out. I missed a spot here, but I will catch that in a minute. Yeah. There we go. I think it's going to work out. Oh, today the brush and paint seem to be behaving pretty well for me. The painting gods are in my favor today. That being said, I'm always aware that I may be speaking too soon. Here's a in between his legs, right here, where I can see that I need to get green back here, which will be difficult. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get green in here, because the back will be yellow, right? If we didn't know that, I'm telling you now, but I got it. Kind of. Wedge my brush in there, like so. Yeah. And because I've thinned the paint so much, I need to go over it a couple of times to get it right. It's funny because this is the one time I was thinking about going zenithal and I didn't. And I don't know, I could tell that if I had, I would have gotten an even better effect on here because of how thin I'm going with this. So I think that I can see the bottom of his green forget what you call this. It's not a cloak. Tunic. From the back here. So I can see the back of the front of the tunic here. And that can be green. Right? Yes. Yes. Like that. It will start to take shape. Which means if this side's green here, then the left side is green on the back. Which means back here he's green on the opposite side. And I will divide this up now, here like so. In order to get that going. There we go. I guess at some point I need to get into my Twitch channel and start adding some stuff that tells me who's watching and when they come on and all that stuff. I don't have any of that stuff set up right now. And I know I'm probably not as exciting as some of the other painters, but that's okay. I'm sure, and I know for a fact I'm not as good as some of the other painters. That's for darn sure. If there's one thing we know here at Fleeco Paints, oh excuse me, as you can see, we are the unprofessional painting channel. So actually, yeah, so his, oh, see, I messed up. Yeah, I did mess up. Because if the top of his shirt is green here, it has to be green there, which means it has to be green on the opposite side. So I have messed up already. And so what I can do is go ahead and just make the rest of the rear tunic. Let me cough real quick. Alright, so now I know I goofed this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do what I know I got to do now. And when I go over this with the yellow, I'll start back here so I can fix my goof up first. Because now I know I've goofed up based on how I started on the shoulder. So I'll do this, fill this in like that, that'll be fine. And covering green with yellow should be interesting to say the least. Let's see. Oh no, but that's supposed to be yellow. See, I'm already messing myself up. It's alright. We can fix it. I can say one thing, that if there's anything on these videos that I've done that you see, is how we fall into some problem that we made a mistake on and then get out of it. And that's probably the most helpful thing out of any of these videos that I've got, is that. So think I'm going to move on to my yellow. Yeah. Move this aside. Clean this brush really well. I have to decide if I'm going to use that bright yellow or not. And I think I've decided that I will. I'll need to shake it up real good. Oh, that would have been fun. Alright, get me a drop here. It's beautiful. Brings a tear to me eye. And actually, I think I'm going to wait to let this dry, or should I go ahead and try to do this? Let's see what happens. Well, I can see that the green is in my... I might have to paint over that with white. So let me start with the shield. No, with a shirt. There goes nothing. There's a lot of water on there. This is very yellow. I might want to go orange, like a darker yellow. Let's see what happens as I get closer to what I'm doing here. Okay. You need to lay it on a little thicker, especially here. And in his tunic, it's amazing the level of detail that this sculptor got on this guy. Mad respect and props. And I believe it's a semi-famous mini, as far as I'm not sure, I might be talking out of my ear. Let me move that paint around a little bit up here. Kind of went too thick here. Gotta go here. And the shirt and the collar. Just like that. Oh, I missed a spot. Just a tiny little spot. So remember when I said that different paints have different properties? I'm pretty sure I have the same amount of water to thin down the yellow paint that I used for the green, but the yellow is thicker and acting a little different. It's not going to be a problem, but it's something to observe and make sure that you take into consideration. Now also, I see I have water on my brush. There was just a situation there where I had to paint over some metal paint. Like that. There you go. Can't help but feel like it's too green. I see the green on my brush. So hold on. Hold on a second. There you go. I don't want those giant brush strokes on my shield, so I gotta figure this out. I got this bigger brush for a second. Yep. I'll have to let that dry for a minute. I'm gonna have to start wearing an apron for painting because I just got another drop of paint on my shirt, which I think is cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's 2 times in a row that happens to me, and I've been painting already for a couple of years, so something's changing. See, that's no water needs to go, but this almost screwed the pooch on that one. And that's the side of my tunic that I need to make yellow. So let's get rid of this glob here and let that dry. Excuse me again. Alright. You can see where I have to cover, but it's a lighter paint, so it's just normal. And here, if I keep messing with it, I ain't gonna get what I want. But on the tunic, I can try to cover the green, but I think that's a fool's errand. Yeah. Actually, I might have figured something out. Let's see if I can keep this. No, nothing's figured out. Alright. So I need to get a strong white. And cover the part that I effed up. I want to cough again, hold on. Alright. Here we go. With my white. Well, that's going to work. I can tell. I can tell already. Let me get it in that little niche right there. I just got to get it over here. Like a straight line down. Not too straight. There you go. I think maybe I should do this. Oh yeah, I got it. Alright, cool. Let's see. Well, I think I can go back to yellow because I need to paint the front here yellow. I'm going to use a thin brush. And I think I'm going to add a little more yellow to my dry palette here. Just a drop. Get some water. Move this around a little bit. Close up my white. Let that dry on the back of my mini while I start messing around with the front of my mini. Yep, I like it. Excuse me, Paladin, could you please raise your shield so I can paint behind there? Thank you. I appreciate that. That'd be nice, right? Not on these old minis. Maybe on the new minis that come in pieces. But on these old minis, it's Wizzy was. Right? So this is a much brighter yellow because I did have a primary color that I bought, that you saw me using here. Then my reference drawing. My reference drawing, the yellow is more goldish or orangish for the sake of this conversation. But like I said, it's a reference photo. I'm not trying to make him exact because he's definitely not exact type of knight as in the reference photo. But it's something that I want to approximate in order to have my own version of this paladin and not have your generic white and red that's out there. And I am kind of happy with what I'm seeing. Might even go over his top portion of his tunic a little bit here, just to get some more pigment in there, but I need to loosen up the there goes. I might even have to stop painting after I'm finished with the yellow because I'm using such a thinned out color that it's very wet, and I'd be afraid to work over it too much without letting it dry right. It's like, so for example, now the shield looks like it's dried enough for me to go ahead and do the second pass that I wanted to do, or third or fourth pass is more like it. This, yeah, way better. And here, of course, I've goofed up the center. Luckily, that doesn't really matter for me, but I will be able to clean that up. That's too much paint on the brush. Let's try that again. And so, boom, and boom. These lines will be in red later. And that white paint on the back of them has dried, so I am going to go ahead and try to paint that yellow as it should have been painted the first time around. See how far I can get with that. I think I need some water here. I like this little brush. Okay, what I do see I need to do is move the paint that's there around because it's clumping up and couple of spots. So I need to clean my brush a little bit. And kind of, there we go. This is going to be like the shield. I'm going to have to go in with really thin layers, which is what everybody tells you to do anyways in the first place. And you kind of do it, but you don't. Well, I think I'm obligated here, especially to get the effect that I want. I'm going to have to do it here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make that point right there. That's going to be yellow. And I don't care what you say, except for that guy. That guy had to say. Right there. Boom. 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 Yeah. It's really yellow. I think it needs to dry so that I can put another thin layer on it, because I'm not gonna get what I want to hear. What's happening is I'm trying to cover some metallic paint, and you can see it through the yellow, so that's annoying, and I'm not sure I could get that out with weathering. And on the bottom, it's just I can see right through the paint into the primer, and that was too dry. So I wet my brush, came back in, smoothed out the pigment, let her dry, add some pigment to the bottom of this tunic here because I saw a spot. And over here on his shirt. That needs to be like that. I can see some green that I could touch up. Alright. I almost want to paint a belt on this guy. You don't see one on him, but he's obviously got one. Well, I may have just messed up. I'm not sure yet. Because that paint was going on smooth, and I just globbed some on just now, so hold on, there we go. Yeah, I think you gotta know when to walk away. I think I need to let this guy sit. Let those two colors dry, and I'll have to rework it later. And I know it's watercolor, it's water-based paint. I'm gonna clean this better. But I want it to really dry, so I'm going to let that sit for a bit until tomorrow or something. I'm gonna cough. So it was a short one today, but a good one. We based our mounted archer, which I will bring out in a moment so we can take a last look. And then we started our full chainmail Ral Partha Paladin, which is awesome. So let's see. Looks good. This kind of looks good. I think I can get some junk off of it with the soap. I'm gonna cough again. Excuse me. So sorry. I don't like this. Oh, God. It's really dirty. Let me show you this guy. I'll put him in the water for a second and show you the mounted archery again. So this is, we did the basing today. We got all those flowers on there with the grass, and we started our night. You can see what I meant about our match, our color selections when we paint in batches. Sometimes I just noticed that I fall into the same colors, but actually I kind of foresee these two being friends, so that's kind of cool. But I'll put that over here, and then I'm going to try and wash this again because there's paint in the furrow, which I don't want with any of my brushes, but it happens. I can see here that all the old paint is starting to come off now. That actually worked. Leaving it in there worked. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but the old paint came off. That's a big deal. My goodness. Yeah. This brush soap works. Alright, let's get that on there. I got this guy. Who is behaving very well today. And he had paint, and not in the furrow, but in the hairs. But it was like nothing, which is very strange. Alright. Can go ahead and, the little archery I got, it could be a ranger. Could be a ranger too. You can use him as a ranger. This is our guy. So far, I'm actually very happy with him so far, and I think we'll see. We'll see. I'm doing some experimentation on him, so that's going to be great. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy, and until next time, Frico Paints. Bye.